We're now come to episode 9 of the first season of the Clone Wars, Cloak of Darkness. This episode I really enjoyed, however I do feel they're repeating one point a little too much, but I will talk about that later. So what happens? After Nute Gunray has been captured, he is taken aboard a Republic cruiser commanded by Luminara, Unduli and Ahsoka Tano. However, Count Dooku enlists his assassin Asajj Ventress to free Gunray or silence him, after Sidious says that he will not last long under Jedi interrogation. Ventress then frees Gunray with the help of a Senate guard called Argius, who betrays the Republic to help Ventress under the orders of Count Dooku. So from that description of the episode, you would be blamed for thinking that this episode sounds dull, and it sounds a little bit typical, like a typical Prison Break episode that we've seen in countless times in other media such as Star Wars and other things as well. And yes, however, it's Ahsoka, Argius and Ventress two that make this episode really shine out to me. Let me go into each of the characters one at a time to sort of explain. This is the first time seeing Ahsoka in an episode that isn't with Anakin, and we can already see that his teachings has caused her to behave in the same way that he does, being reckless and forceful when interrogating Gunray, to not knowing what to do when she knows that Luminara is no match for Ventress, but doesn't know whether to intervene or not. It shows that she is slowly learning, but maybe not in the right way, and we see this when Luminara pulls her aside and says that fear is not the method the Jedi use. But it's interesting to see how a Jedi who is more traditional in their methods meets a Jedi who is less traditional, much like Anakin. Argius is the second character that I love in this episode. First of all, because he isn't a clone, he is a Senate guard, so he is much more a free thinker than the clones and is not directly loyal to the Republic, and this is more easily convinced to betray them. Now, I have said this. Now, we've seen this before with Slick on Christophsis. However, I feel that it is more about freedom from the Republic. At the start, I really didn't know why Argius' helmet didn't have a visor on it, and then I thought from a logical and military perspective, if he is in battle, he didn't have any protection around his face. However, the episode progressed, I realised that the reason why he didn't have this is in order to show his face expressions, one make you feel more attached to his character, but also feel more of a heartbreak when he ends up betraying the Republic. But to me, I didn't feel very shocked when he ended up turning on the Republic, mainly because I've seen this before in the Clone Wars, and I know what happens, but looking back on it, you can tell this was a plan from really early on. He is the only trooper that Ventress doesn't directly injure in the episode, and he is really trying to persuade Ahsoka to leave and find Luminara, in order for him to be alone with the other troopers, who would be easy to kill rather than a Jedi. However, I did say earlier that I do feel that they are using the one particular idea too many times, and that's the idea of having traitors in the Republic working for the CIS. We had Slick right at the start of the season, we had Akonda Farr betraying Padme for the CIS in the last episode, and in this episode we have Captain Argius. I feel like they're trying to use this storyline a little too much. It does get boring after they keep repeating the same thing over and over and over again. Now on to the last character I want to talk about, that is Ventress. Now, Ventress' story in this episode just consists of her walking around the ship trying to find an ideal opportunity to free Gunray, but it's the way she does it that I think is really cool. At the start, she takes a clone armor plate, so the armor plate of a clone armor, so she has direct contact with the clone's communications, and she uses that to signal Argius that it's time to break Gunray out, which I thought was really cool. And while Gunray was being broken out, she was distracting Luminara and Ahsoka in the reactor room, which is just a cool action sequence in and of itself. Another cool thing I wanted to point out is this is the first time seeing the Senate guards in the Clone Wars, and I think they look pretty cool. So overall though, I did really enjoy this episode, not because of the story that was being told, but rather the characters and what they did in this episode and missed the story. But we shall see in the next episode what happens when the Republic hunt down the escaped Gunray.